The young men of the West have been absolutely failed by whoever controls that narrative. I'm not going to go too into depth into that. It could be government, could be a certain group of people. Who knows? Let's not get too into that side of things. But whoever it is clearly aiming for the downfall of the Western man or the white man. Let's put it straight. There are several reasons for this, and there's a lot of evidence for this. And in terms of evidence, I'm pretty much living evidence of that exact fact. Now, if you're not aware, you're probably not. My name's Kyle. I make a shit ton of money, like a stupid, unfathomable amount to some people, more than most make a year in a month type shit. Um, and I make that money from essentially the adult industry. It's not something to be, overly fucking proud of, but the fact that it exists does not mean that I want it to exist, especially in the way that it does, especially the way that it profits from, the most lonely of society. But essentially, I've been in certain business models such as OnlyFans management, webcam management, and now more into AI models. So essentially, we take an AI generated girl, put them on OnlyFans, and make money that way. Again, it's not something that I'm gonna scream and shout about and say, "Oh, look at me, I'm fucking, Mister Morality here." Because yeah, I profit off it because it exists. Why the fuck not? And I suggest, in fact, you do as well. It's much better to profit off of something for purely selfish reasons than to try to be a saint and say, "No, I'd never do that. That would be, beyond my moral compass." Because in reality, you're either going to be a victim of it or you're going to profit from it. So that's the way I see it. But point being is, whoever is pushing this agenda of porn is great, buy porn, um, you know, don't approach girls in the street, the whole, even the female side, pushing them to do OnlyFans, pushing them to be more sexual, provocative, all this shit is all adding up and compounding into making a lot weaker men, and it's no coincidence. Imagine if the Western man was as strong as they were 200 years ago. I think places like this would probably struggle to exist. I'm out in Dubai, like for sure. I think the fact that it's fallen so far is crazy. Um, I mean, you can't even fathom how far, especially the British Empire, has fallen. And there's definitely no coincidence. There is someone pushing that, and someone who wants that to happen, or it wouldn't. Because realistically, you don't just give away top position and then slowly crumble down. There's someone either crumbling it from the inside, or it's a planned thing, and they want to eventually be somewhere near the fucking bottom, which makes no sense. But the kind of main point being is a lot, in fact, the majority of men now are lonely, are broke, are scared to approach women. They don't have a girlfriend, they probably don't even want one. And they've probably, sadly enough, purchased porn in a recent time. And am I one to judge for that? No. But I'm definitely a huge advocate for wanting a more normal society, the way things used to be, the good old days as such. And that's not just on men specifically, but I do think that if every single man was, up to scratch or strong as they should be, then the women would be less promiscuous. They wouldn't feel the need to indulge in as much porn, and the whole Western society would be a lot stronger in general, meaning that no one, well, not no one, but people would still be broke, obviously. Um, but the majority of people wouldn't be broke, and being broke wouldn't be as bad. As we know, the divide between the rich and poor is so vast now. There's almost no middle class. In fact, the middle class are almost the ones that suffer the most because they get taxed the most, they earn the most, they probably work the most hours or work in the most strenuous um, areas in terms of brain, but they have nothing to show for it. They go on a holiday once a year, um, and they drive a fucking BMW. It's shit to be in that kind of position. At least if you're on benefits or you're towards the lower echelon, you go out, you get fucking fucked up in the pub, and you do some decent shit, which will revolve around stories and experiences. Whereas the middle class, they go home, they abide by the rules, and they try to save money, and they can't save money because it gets taken. Something's going to happen. You're going to crash. The fucking stock market will blow. You lose everything, and shit happens. But the main point of this video, I've kind of gone off on a tangent, is that you need to do something about this specifically, because no one is going to help you. And I think a lot of people will misconstrue this whole thing, and as always will play the victim card and be like, okay, so it's not my fault, so I can blame the government, I can blame whoever's controlling me, and take no self-accountability for anything. Whereas realistically, I am a byproduct of taking advantage of the situations that are going on. As sad as they are, I have been able to profit off of these things. I've been able to, become enough of a man. Yes, cool, skinny frame, less common, very funny. But I've been able to become enough of a man so that I do get women, so that I do have money, and so that I, am above the average bloke, especially as a 22-year-old. There's not a lot of people in my position at all, especially from like my hometown down south. Everyone seems to be weak. I think everyone mainly grows up middle class. I personally didn't, but everyone does, and everyone kind of just sits into that comfortable lifestyle, goes and gets an office job. But now that doesn't work. You struggle just as much as the old working class, if not more, because at least they could afford a fucking pint at the pub without thinking about if the fucking stock market is going to crash tomorrow. But yeah, self accountability is huge, and the only person that's going to make this work is you. And sitting there, government blaming or saying, "Oh, I'm black, I can't fucking the whole system's against me," is not. Behave. And what you need to do is make yourself the best version of yourself. It doesn't mean you have to start a business. It doesn't mean you have to become a fucking bodybuilder-sized bloke. It means that you need to get a grip, stop complaining, and start taking accountability for the position that you're in. Yes, we live in a shit society now. There are people in India, for example, where the minimum wage is absolutely like $100, $200, or average wage, sorry. I don't think they have a fucking minimum wage, so be grateful for that. People are literally starving, but the average wage is like $100, $200 a month, and there are people earning over Western wage because online exists now. You're competing no longer against just people in England, just people from your hometown. You're competing against the whole world. If a company from the UK can hire some Indian who's been doing this for 5 years, I don't know, some job, copywriting, for example. I know a few good copywriters from India that speak English better than any English copywriter, and they're perceivably cheaper. However, because they're experienced, because they have staff under them, they're making crazy money, like money you can't fathom, but they don't need it essentially. So they're living like absolute kings in places like India, or moving out of there. It doesn't really matter. But the point is that your competition is so vast now that you really need to fucking put the work in. It's not as easy as when my parents were about and they could finish a shift at Tesco's and go down the pub and get smashed off of £5. You can't do that. So it's all about the position that you're in and how you take advantage of it, and just be fucking grateful that you're not in a position like I don't know our great grandparents were, where you have to wake up in fucking Normandy in a trench Could be worse, right? Could be fucking worse. Just put a bit of fucking work in, go to the gym, become a better man, and fucking start an online business, whatever you need to do, or just work fucking harder in your normal job and take some accountability, because that's where a lot of male unhappiness comes from, and that's where a lot of these problems come from, is people just crying about the situation that they're in and expecting it to be fixed and relying on the system for that to be fixed. Whereas if you actually just said, okay, the system's broken, but I'm not fucking broken. I'm fully functioning. I can wrap my head around another way to make this work. It's all just gonna matter. So good luck.